Well, may the Force be with us today because Ahsoka Episode 5 has premiered, and after Episode 4, all of us, every single one of us Star Wars fans, were clamoring, cheering! And I'm here to tell you that this was one of the most euphoric Star Wars things that I have ever felt. The Cloud 9 feeling I have after this episode is even more than last week. And what I will say is that a lot of my predictions that I had for this week's episode did not even come true. And that's okay. As a massive Ahsoka, Star Wars Rebels, Star Wars Clone Wars prequel fan, Anakin Skywalker fan, all of the above, this episode was about everything that I wanted it to be more. God! Oh, they did it. They freaking Dave Filoni did it. I'm so excited to talk about this episode. I'm honestly speechless. I'm flabbergasted. I'm everything. I'm going to be watching this episode again once I get this review out. But I definitely have to hear your guys' thoughts. So may the Force be with us as we start to talk about Ahsoka Episode 5 again in full spoilers. Hit that like, subscribe button, comment down below your guys' thoughts, and do look forward, if you like full reactions of me reacting to the episodes, I will have that over on my second channel, Zach Pope Expanded. But I'm losing my breath. We got to talk about Episode 5. Because we got Clone Wars flashbacks, we got the world between worlds, we got Anakin Skywalker, we got space whales, we got everything that I could have possibly ever wanted. And we even got Ahsoka, a brand new suit. Ahsoka the White, freaking awesome. I love the outfit, all that stuff. I'm so freaking excited, if you can't tell. Oh, where to start? I guess the first thing I really want to start out with is really much the technical side. First off, Kevin Kiner, I think, has done a phenomenal job. I've mentioned him every single week when we talk about this show and how great he's done as a freaking just his music and everything of that nature. And what he did with, of course, all the animated shows was splendid and incredible, and he's really much hearkened into what John Williams did, because when you hear a lot of John Williams' score, it gives you goosebumps, whether it's Indiana Jones, whether it's the original Star Wars trilogy. And what they did in here, what Kevin Kiner's score did, I've hearkened it and hyped it to every single week. This is, for me, the best Star Wars TV show, animated or live action, score that we've ever gotten. Kevin Kiner gave me straight goosebumps. I still have the goosebumps. And I got them like midway through the episode when they went to Siege of Mandalore. That's saying something. Second, Dave Filoni. I was not the hypest when he was announced to be doing a Star Wars movie, specifically that it was probably going to be the Mandoverse and things like that. Wasn't the biggest fan of that. Yep, let him direct a Star Wars movie. Let him direct a Star Wars movie, because I will say right now, this is the closest feeling that I've had. And I've liked a lot of Star Wars stuff. You followed me, you know that I like a lot of Star Wars stuff. But when I talk about love and that feeling of what the original trilogy gives, and even what kind of the prequel's charm is, Dave Filoni embodies what George Lucas gave. That can be a hit or miss for you. But what I'm so impressed with, and what I was so worried about going into the show, and even this episode particularly, that this could have easily been a cameo galore episode. A location galore, an Easter egg galore. You could have made Pamela Amidala references. You could have brought Obi-Wan Kenobi in. You could have done this. You could have done that. You could have taken us to Mustafar, which was actually my theory. I thought they were going to battle on Mustafar instead of Obi-Wan Kenobi. You could have done Kanan Jarrus. You could have done so many different Easter eggs and so many different cameos. And they didn't. Everything was so subtle. And honestly, I think that's the smartest thing, because there are a lot of people who watch the show that have never watched Rebels. So you have to, while they did not dive into the world between worlds, I think it's a great introduction to now people who are interested in what that world was. But it was very simple. We got Anakin Skywalker and Ahsoka. People who don't know that Ahsoka was his apprentice and all sorts of things like that, and his Padawan, now know. And we get this, for fans who have watched him from the Clone Wars, we get this full rounding circle, this closure for Ahsoka that didn't get that closure in Star Wars Rebels. She got her closure in this episode. That dark feeling, that feeling that one day she might become him, is gone. And the thematics of what this episode does for Ahsoka as a character are the best things that I've ever seen on a thematical level for a Jedi in Star Wars. And I genuinely mean that. More than any of the other shows, and more than any of the other movies, where I'm not going to get into the books and the comics because I'm not versed in those, but when it comes down strictly to those, as a character that has been fleshed out, Ahsoka has been the most fleshed out. And there's a lot of benefit that, of course, she gets all these television shows and all this time. But that full rounding circle to show what she was to Anakin Skywalker and what she left with a burden that one day she could become him. That right there is great. And I think what we get to see here is a parallel. And when we talk about the dual fates, the dual fates that happened in the Clone Wars. The dual fates of course, Revenge of the Sith. Anakin turned to the dark side. And Ahsoka never did. But she could have. She was worried she might. We get to see Ahsoka is the great embodiment of what Anakin Skywalker was. And what he could have been. In a what-if scenario, if he was not bad, this is the leader he would have been. And I'm trying not to get emotional about it, but that's the way I took it. And Dave Filoni wrote one of the most brilliant scripts that we've seen in Star Wars history when it comes down to TV. It's phenomenal. I cannot wait to see what he does with that movie. I really hope it embodies the same stuff here, because this episode was so cinematic, and I know a lot of you guys actually got to maybe check it out in theaters. I know our friend Ryan Geekness of the channel got to check it out in theaters. He was hyping this episode up, but it was fantastic. And even jumping into the spoiler talk, when we jump into the clip, like the way that they're just dueling at the start, and then he swipes it down and she falls in, and we get a Clone Wars flashback, and we get Anakin in the Clone Wars outfit, the clone general armor. I was hyped. The girl who played young Ahsoka, I think that's the girl from Barbie, Ariana Greenblatt. I could be wrong. I didn't even stay for the credits. I was too damn excited, but she was great as young Ahsoka. Very great job on how they casted her, and very much how she embodied young Ahsoka. It was like watching the cartoons come to life in live action. And getting, for me, like wearing a Clone Wars, I'm a huge fan of the Clone Wars series. This kind of felt like the farewell to the Clone Wars. And it's emotional to me. I think I'll feel a little bit more of that on Bad Batch Season 3. But when it actually comes down to seeing stuff in that era, I don't think we will ever see anything else from there. At least not for a long, long time. And I'm okay with that. I felt like these flashbacks and the way that they played out, and getting to see Ahsoka again as a child. And again, I think for people who have never seen Ahsoka before in anything, this is like a great introduction for them. And the dialogue between her and Anakin was splendid, and when she's tending to the troop and holding the hand, and the way that it kind of just ties into that. And then, oh my god, he goes out, you see the Darth Vader lightsaber shoot out, Darth Vader, the theme, then it cuts into, this is when I flipped out. So I saw the outfit and I was like, oh my god, Siege of Mandalore. And then I know she was fighting a Mandalorian. I was like, oh my god, it's the Siege of Mandalore. We didn't get Darth Maul. I thought maybe there was a chance. It didn't happen. It's okay. I didn't need it to. Because again, that would have led into the cameo thing. Would I have flipped out? Absolutely. Could it have been easy for Dave Filoni to do that? Could it have been easy for Dave Filoni to have Obi-Wan Kenobi, Yoda, any of the other characters in the last flashback segment I talked about? Yes, but he didn't. He didn't jump right into that. And I love that. I love it. I love it. But that moment, Siege of Mandalore, seeing her in one of my favorite moments in all of Clone Wars, but seeing Anakin there and saying, I don't remember this fight, and her explaining that you weren't there, it breaks you. And then, you know, they go into their last fight when he goes, live or die, and she says, I want to live. And their fight ends, and the eyes turn back to blue. And his final lesson to her is done. She is, in a way, graduated to Jedi Master. And while maybe she doesn't realize herself as that, it's something that you do see. I'm trying not to cry. Oh my god. I don't even know why I'm so freaking emotional about it. Oh my god. I'm trying not to cry because I do these in one take, but my god. And the way it ties in, and then they find him, because all this time going on, Hera and Jason are looking for them, and Jason hears the lightsaber, and they find her, pull her from the water, and she wakes up. She's been gone for one rotation. And everything of that nature, of Hera's conversation, and the goosebumps that you get there, of Ahsoka trying to figure out what's going on. She feels the memory of Sabine. It's speechless, because the second she notices the space whales, it ties into all that. And they fly up, and our favorite captain has to stop the fleet from coming in and disturbing them. And we get some nice Star Wars humor there, but we have her walk out in that awesome white outfit. And she talks to the space whale, which sounds so stupid, but it works. and the ship flies in. And I love when she comes back in and she has a completely different attitude with one of the coolest droids ever. And pretty much she goes, are they going to take us there? And she goes, I don't know. But anywhere is better than nowhere. And that is the truth. And she makes that promise to Hera that she's going to bring back Sabine and bring back Ezra. And that's when she blasts off to the further reaches of the galaxy. And with 6, 7, and 8 left, Thrawn isn't coming. Everything is coming full circle. And as someone who has just, again, loved Ahsoka for this long, this was one of the greatest things that I have ever watched as a euphoric Star Wars fan. I am so freaking emotional. That was incredible. And the Force is definitely with us today, guys. So thank you so much again for watching this. I'm so sorry I got emotional. Definitely let me know down below your guys' thoughts. And of course, until next time, stay classy.